So here are some options for someone with a disability to access a computer that is easier now than ever before. So here's a couple of different keyboards. This is an example of one with contrasting letters. So someone with a vision impairment might be able to see the black on the yellow better than the typical white on black or black on white. This is called an Orbitouch, and you'll see the little letters here. So instead of having to use a single finger to push a key on a keyboard, you can use a large hand movement that's assigned to each section. So you'll be able to type better that way. There's also features like Dragon. So this is speech recognition software. You use your voice to type on a computer. This is actually able to be downloaded now from a website. And there's also built-in features in the computer. So you can just simply use those accessibility features that are in there to type with your voice. Here's some mice, different mice options. This is a large trackball. So you can see why this would be easier for somebody who doesn't have those fine motor skills to operate the cursor. So your left and right click are right here. Roll that. Here's a joystick mouse. So again, the joysticks are great. This is a head mouse. So you basically put this on, and this is a bite click. You click on that and activate your cursor. And then down here we have some interfaces. So if you have an individual who needs to use a switch like we've shown you before, the little jelly bean switches or the big red switches for a computer, then you can plug them in here and then hook this up to your computer, and they'll be able to operate it that way with the switch that they're used to operating with. So if it's a touch screen, you can actually hook this up to a hand, and this will telescope in and out, and they can make selections with that tip. And then also with their head. So this is something that straps to the head. It straps to the chin, and they just have to move their head back and forth and in and out to make selections that way. The computers that are made these days actually have built-in features like the voice recognition software. So you can just go into the accessibility system settings in Windows and then on your Mac. And there are lots of options there, being able to just speak to your computer and having it type it out. Also making the mouse cursor larger if you have vision impairment, and then also making the text on the screen bigger. So with something called a magnifier. So there are lots of options there, and I just encourage you to go into your accessibility settings and just kind of play around and see. So here's an example of how to access a computer with just your eyes. This is a Tobii eye gaze device. I have it calibrated to my height and the way that I'm sitting. And so let's see if we can get it to work. So with just my eyes, I activated the games and experiences. Okay, just like there were built-in features on PCs these days, there's also built-in features for accessibility on iPads. So the same things you can kind of do on a PC, you can also do on an iPad. So just go into the accessibility settings. You'll find that there's zoom, so you can make the text on the screen larger and smaller. Speak screen, that's just with a swipe down of 2 fingers. There's all kinds of options out there. Also, you can set up a wireless switch to play Switch accessible games. So this is an example of a Switch accessible game called Five Little Aliens. You press a wireless switch that's hooked up to it, and it will make the selection. So here's an example of just a basic wireless switch here with a large surface. Here's a smaller, more angled one. And then these are switches that have switch interfaces built into them. So you can actually use these two as switches, but you can also connect an outside switch, like the large big red switch I mentioned earlier, into this device. So if they're used to using that particular switch, you can still operate an iPad with that, just with a switch interface. As far as styluses go, the same ones we use for a touch screen for a computer can also be used for an iPad. So here's another one of those that have this telescoping handle, and they can attach to the wrist. And then also you can operate an iPad with your head, make selections that way. So they're also AT for individuals with learning disabilities. I already talked about how these are oftentimes built into computers and iPads. Features that are read text to speech, word prediction, word banks can be helpful, and highlighters. So all these options can help someone who's struggling to read or write. So these are software tools that used to be the thing to go to for those. They're now outdated because they are available. The same type of service is available already in accessibility settings. So this is Clicker 5. Write Out Loud was another example. And then CoWriter 4000. So all of these have basically been built into computers these days, which is a great convenience for a lot of people. Also, the reading pens, great for someone with dyslexia who's trying to overcome that. So you turn it on, you scan a word, it'll read it to you, and it's great for the classroom because you can put headphones in your ears and listen to it instead of it talking out loud to everyone there. So great tool for children with dyslexia.